The universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are. These words from Rumi point directly to the heart of true power. The realization that all answers, all energy, all transformation begins within. The notion that we must travel far, collect tools, or be granted permission to access the field of energy is a myth. What is needed is presence, focus, and alignment with the deepest part of the self. Everything in the universe is energy, vibrating, shifting, responding. From the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, all things exist in motion. This includes thought, emotion, belief. And the human body is not simply a biological vessel, but a field of intelligence, pulsing with electromagnetic rhythm and wrapped in an auric field that extends beyond the skin. This field is dynamic, living, and changeable. Within and beyond it lies a much vaster structure, a layer of reality known as the Akashic Field. The Akashic Field is not a fantasy. It is not a metaphor. It is a literal fabric of encoded awareness existing beyond space and time. It remembers. It reflects. It is like a quantum server that holds every thought, intention, and action that has ever existed, and every potential that could. It's not up in the sky or in some otherworldly plane. It is here, now, all around and within you, and your consciousness is already interacting with it, whether you realize it or not. To control your energy field mentally using the Akashic current, you do not need mysticism, you need clarity. The clearer the mind, the stronger the signal. The more coherent your thoughts, the more direct the access. This has nothing to do with belief and everything to do with vibration. If your inner world is erratic, cluttered, noisy, your energy field will reflect that. You'll broadcast a scrambled signal into the Akashic layer, and what you receive will be fragmented or false. But if your thoughts, emotions, and will are aligned, then you begin to resonate with something higher. And when that happens, the field starts to open. This process begins in silence. True silence. Not just the absence of sound, but the absence of noise, mental chatter, ego narratives, scattered focus. When you sit and allow your attention to stabilize, when you let your thoughts slow without force, you begin to enter a still space between the noise. That space is the doorway. It is not empty. It is full, vibrating with presence, information, memory. The Akashic layer does not reveal itself in chaos. It requires coherence. Stillness is the first key. You might begin by simply observing the breath. As thoughts arise, you watch them, not engage them. You become the witness, not the thinker. Over time, you feel yourself soften. The sense of I begins to fade. The boundaries of your body blur. You begin to sense energy. Tiny sensations on your skin, around your face, may be pulsing near your heart or third eye. That is not imagination, that is perception awakening. As you expand your awareness outward, you begin to feel the space around your body. A few inches, then feet, then meters. That's your field. That's the interface. Now you are no longer just in your body. You are sensing your presence in space. This is where you can begin to direct energy mentally. Thought becomes a command, but not through force, through resonance. Let your attention settle on the space around your chest. Visualize a soft light expanding and contracting as you breathe. Inhale and feel that light rise up your spine. Exhale and imagine it moving outward in every direction. With every cycle, feel the energy field becoming more responsive. Now hold a simple thought. Not a desire or a demand, but a question. Something clear and open like, what is needed for my healing? Or where am I blocking flow? Then listen, not with your ears, with your field. Let images, symbols, or sensations arise. They may seem random. They are not. They are the response of the Akashic current to your coherent inquiry. At this point, you are not thinking. You are perceiving, receiving. You are in dialogue with a deeper layer of reality. As impressions arise, your job is not to interpret them with logic, but to feel into them. Trust the sensation. What feels true, alive, electric, that is your guidance. This is how you begin to mentally control your energy field, by shifting your attention from thought to resonance. And here's the shift most people never make. You must learn to send energy back. You're not just listening to the field, you are shaping it. When you hold a clear intention and pair it with elevated emotion, gratitude, peace, awe, you begin to imprint the field with coherence. The universe responds, people change around you, events begin to align, not because you manipulated them, but because you tuned your frequency and reality matched you. This is not theory. This is how the field works. Your auric space acts like a transmitter. When you learn to stabilize your internal vibration, meaning your thoughts, your emotional charge, and your will, you become a magnet for aligned experiences. Your energy shifts before your life does. This is why real power is invisible first, but it's not enough to feel energy. You must learn to read it, track it, speak to it. This is where mental discipline becomes crucial. If your mind is constantly reacting, auto-scrolling, comparing, judging, it's sending mixed signals into the field. But when your mind is quiet, focused, and purposeful, you become a laser. And a laser doesn't chase, it cuts through noise. You'll notice as your coherence increases that you begin to affect others effortlessly. People feel drawn to you, not because of what you say, but because of the way you feel. Your energy becomes a transmission, and it teaches without words. The Akashic Field moves through you, and it speaks in geometry, emotion, and intuition. You'll find ideas coming to you before you need them. You'll dream of answers you didn't ask for. You'll know things before they happen, not to impress anyone, but because you are tuned in. But here's the part no one wants to hear. This power will show you your shadows. The Akashic Field doesn't lie. When you begin to work with it, it brings up every distortion in your energy. Every belief that blocks flow, every memory that's unprocessed, not to punish you, but to clear the channel. Because the cleaner the channel, the more pure the transmission. This is why so many stop halfway. The moment discomfort arises, they retreat. But if you stay with it, if you breathe through the discomfort, stay present and keep listening, you will emerge on the other side with a power that cannot be faked. Not ego, not control, but presence. Pure, magnetic, transformative. This is the doorway. And it's only the beginning. To deepen your relationship with the field, you must become familiar with the feeling of truth, not as a concept, but as a frequency. The Akashic current does not speak in words or logic. It speaks in resonance. When something is true, it feels whole. There's no mental strain, no tightness, no internal negotiation. The energy flows. It feels like a soft unlocking, like air finally reaching lungs after being held too long. This is the body's recognition of coherence. And coherence is your compass. The more you practice aligning with this feeling, the more accurate your access becomes. You begin to tell the difference between mental noise and true signal. You stop chasing answers outside yourself and start listening within. This is not about becoming passive. It's about becoming powerful through precision. When your mind becomes clear, your emotions stable, and your field intentional, you are no longer guessing at life. You're sculpting it. To work with energy consciously, you must treat your field like a sacred instrument. This means maintaining it, protecting it, and learning its language. Energy doesn't lie. It records everything, your intentions, your emotions, even your unspoken patterns. And when you approach it with reverence, it begins to respond in kind. Not dramatically, not theatrically, but subtly, elegantly, in layers of synchronicity. Start each day with presence. Before you touch your phone or speak a word, sit in silence. Not to meditate, not to visualize, but simply to remember your own field. Close your eyes. Feel the outline of your body dissolve into space. Feel the pulse behind your heart. Notice the gentle hum around your skin. That is your baseline. From here, begin to observe what feels heavy, what feels open, what is trying to surface. This is your internal weather, and you cannot fly high through a storm you refuse to acknowledge. Throughout the day, return to the field. In moments of stress, close your eyes for 10 seconds and feel your spine. Bring your awareness to your chest. Speak no words. Just return to presence. This resets your signal. You are no longer feeding the static, you are stabilizing the broadcast. The Akashic layer favors those who remember to return again and again until it becomes their way of moving. As you gain clarity, you can begin to influence specific energy streams. This is not magic, it is relationship. You begin to feel where energy is stuck. In your body, your relationships, your finances, your creative flow. And instead of reacting, you breathe. You observe. You send attention, not force. Energy moves where attention flows, but only if that attention is neutral, not desperate. Desperation scrambles the field. Stillness tunes it. When dealing with others, become aware that every interaction is a field exchange. Words are secondary. What you feel before someone speaks. That is data. What lingers after they leave, that is a signature. When your field is stable, you don't need to protect yourself through walls or withdrawal. Your frequency naturally filters distortion. You walk into a room and the room adjusts, not because you dominate, but because you harmonize. You carry coherence into chaos, and that changes the equation. Begin experimenting with energetic influence, not manipulation. Resonance. For example, before entering a meeting or conversation, bring your awareness to your heart. Breathe slowly. Imagine your chest expanding with calm, grounded clarity. Hold the silent intention. I bring stability and truth. Then speak as you normally would. Observe how the energy shifts. You're not forcing anything. You're broadcasting a field, and the Akashic responds to that broadcast in real time. Over time, this becomes natural. You stop thinking of it as a technique. It becomes how you exist, tuned, clear, attuned to the deeper current underneath appearances. Life stops being a series of reactions and starts becoming an unfolding, a co-created field of exploration. You'll begin to notice that your intuition sharpens. You walk into spaces and feel what's true. You meet people and know what they're holding behind their words. Not because you're psychic, but because your field is awake. You are reading the Akasha not like a book, but like a song, like a vibration, and you start recognizing that you too are being read. This creates accountability. You become unwilling to carry distortion. You begin to speak only what feels clean. You stop giving your energy to things that fracture your field. This isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. And from that alignment comes a deeper form of power. Not the power to control others, but the power to influence reality from the inside out. When your inner landscape becomes coherent, your outer world reorganizes to match it. You'll see it in the timing of events, the clarity of choices, the removal of blocks you didn't even know you had. You'll begin to feel like you're walking through a coded path. Not because someone planned it for you, but because you're finally listening to the map you've always carried inside. And that's the secret. The Akashic Records aren't out there. They are embedded in your body, in your breath, in the spaces between your thoughts. Every moment you enter deep presence, you are reading the code. Every moment you act from alignment, you are writing new entries. You are not just a reader of the records, you are also a scribe. Your life, your choices, your vibration, the yodit, they echo across timelines. This is not theory, it is practice, and you have already begun. There comes a point where accessing the Akashic Field is no longer about receiving insights. It becomes about transformation. direct influence over your energy, your choices, and the very frequency you emit into the world. The realization strikes slowly at first, then all at once. Your life is not happening to you. It's emerging through you. Your relationships, your blocks, your patterns. They aren't accidents. They're reverberations of your inner structure. And when you change that inner structure consciously, the external begins to reconfigure. Most people try to change reality by pushing against it. They take action from fear, adjust things on the surface, chase strategies, switch paths, hoping something will finally shift. But the Akashic Field does not respond to external effort. It responds to internal architecture. It reads the structure of your energy and mirrors it back. You cannot fool it. You cannot manipulate it. It is not interested in what you pretend to be. It reflects what you are. So to truly control your energy field using Akashic power, you must first become radically honest with yourself. No filters, no spiritual bypassing. Where are you out of alignment? Where are you acting from scarcity? Where are you pretending to be clear when you're actually confused? The Akashic Field honors authenticity above all. And the moment you stop posturing, the moment you sit down and say, "I don't know, but I'm ready to know," the field opens. This is where real power begins, not with answers, but with surrender, not with control, but with connection. You begin to notice how certain beliefs constrict your energy. You feel the density in your chest when you speak something that isn't true. You catch the hesitation in your solar plexus when your choices aren't aligned. These are not problems. They are invitations. Energy is always giving you feedback. The Akashic Field is always speaking. You simply have to listen through your body. The mind wants to interpret everything, but the Akashic Field speaks in symbols, synchronicities, sensation. It's not a language of analysis, it's a language of presence. To understand it, you must train yourself to feel before you label. Notice what expands you. Notice what contracts you. If an idea makes you breathe deeper, if a decision lights up your body without reason, that's the signal. If you feel drained, agitated, mentally loud, pause. You're probably out of resonance. Now you begin to use energy as a compass. You stop chasing clarity in thought and start sensing it in vibration. You approach decisions not with pros and cons lists, but by testing their frequency. You place the decision in your mind, sit with it in silence and feel. Does your field open or close? Does your breath deepen or tighten? The body knows. The energy doesn't lie. This is not guessing, this is energetic calibration. As this ability grows, you start moving differently. You notice that when you act from this resonance, things flow. Doors open, people align, conversations shift. You aren't just navigating life, you're coding it. And this is when Akashic power stops being an abstract concept and becomes a living force. The Akashic Field is not separate from you. It is your extended consciousness. Think of it like a multi-dimensional nervous system. A field of awareness that stretches beyond your body but is connected to you through attention. When you focus, you pull information from it. When you align, you program it. The more conscious your energy becomes, the more real-time your relationship with it grows. You're not asking for guidance. You are living in dialogue with the intelligence of the field. And now you begin to shape, to direct, not forcefully, not by command, but by calibration. Say you wish to create something, a project, a connection, a healing. Instead of visualizing it into existence with willpower, you begin by aligning your energy to what already exists. Ask, who do I need to become to match this frequency? What needs to be released for me to allow this to flow in? When you make internal adjustments, forgiveness, clarity, courage, the field responds. Energy rearranges around intention, not surface intention, but vibrational commitment. The moment your internal world stabilizes around a truth, the field begins to organize reality around that frequency. Not always instantly, not always in the way you expect, but always in resonance. This is the secret behind synchronicity. It's not magic. It's not coincidence. It's feedback. The field is saying, yes, you are in alignment. Keep going. When synchronicity disappears, you're likely forcing or hesitating. When it accelerates, you're riding the wave. There's another layer to this: protection. The more conscious your field becomes, the less vulnerable you are to energetic intrusion. You stop absorbing other people's moods. You stop being pulled into their distortions. Why? Because you are no longer porous. You are defined, not defended. Defined. Your field carries a signature of clarity, and distortion cannot anchor itself in clarity. But this takes maintenance. Just like the body, the energy field needs hygiene. Each day, take time to release what's not yours. Breathe it out. Visualize it as smoke. Speak it aloud. Sound clears static. Intention seals the space. Your field becomes a sacred temple. Not for isolation, but for transmission. And from here, the Akashic current deepens. It doesn't just show you your path. It begins to magnetize others on the same frequency. You find yourself in the right rooms. The right ideas land at your feet. The right connections appear not because you sought them, but because your field became the invitation. You stop chasing. You start attracting, not from desire, but from alignment. There is no secret. There is only presence, and presence shapes reality. There is a moment when you realize the Akashic Field is not a destination to reach or a state to achieve. It's a relationship, alive, intelligent, and constantly evolving. And like any relationship, the more presence you bring to it, the more it reveals. At this point, it no longer feels like you're working with the field. It begins to feel like you're working as the field. The boundary between self and energy dissolves. You are no longer a seeker. You are a signal. From this space, new dimensions of influence emerge. You begin to not only read the energy in people and spaces, but to interact with it deliberately. You can walk into a room and feel what is unspoken. You can place your attention on someone and sense their internal state, not for manipulation, not for control, but for calibration, for healing, clarity, transmission. You become an energetic anchor. Others feel calmer around you without knowing why. Conversations become more authentic. Environments stabilize. You are no longer reacting to the energy around you. You are organizing it. This is not charisma. It is coherence. You are not demanding attention. You are commanding frequency. But to reach this level of energetic refinement, you must practice integrity in every moment. Energetic mastery cannot coexist with internal conflict. If your words say one thing, your energy says another. If your smile hides resistance, your field becomes confused. The Akashic layer cannot be deceived. It always reflects your inner architecture. And if you are incoherent, your influence fragments. So you must align your inner world continuously. You begin asking questions like, does my thought match my emotion? Does my action match my value? Does my presence match my intention? When the answer is yes, your energy sharpens. It becomes direct, clean, clear. This is when miracles begin to occur. Not as supernatural events, but as natural byproducts of coherence. Healing, for instance, is no longer something you chase or pray for. It becomes a byproduct of field alignment. When your energy is balanced, your body responds. Symptoms dissolve, emotional patterns soften. Old trauma begins to release not through endless processing, but through vibrational correction. The body heals when it feels safe, and your field becomes the space in which that safety is restored. This extends outward. You begin to affect others not through advice or persuasion, but simply through the state of your energy. You sit across from someone in pain, and your stillness helps them regulate. You enter a space filled with chaos, and your breath creates an anchor. You no longer see problems to fix. You see resonance to restore. And yet, the ego will tempt you. It will whisper, "Look what you can do. Look who you've become." But the moment you seek to use this field for power, for validation, for ego inflation, it vanishes. The Akashic current is not impressed by performance. It doesn't serve ambition. It responds only to clarity, service, humility. The moment you try to bend it to your will, it slips away like light through fingers. So the only sustainable path is presence. Moment by moment. Breath by breath. You are not here to control the field. You are here to embody it. You are not here to extract from it. You are here to align with it. And in that alignment, your entire life becomes an expression of intelligence, of truth, of remembrance. From this space, you begin to feel that your soul has done this before, that this is not new, that every practice, every breath, every act of listening is a returning, a remembering of something ancient and sacred. You feel the codes in your spine. You hear the voice beneath the voice. You begin to live in two worlds at once, the physical and the vibrational. And you realize they are not separate. This awareness transforms even the mundane. Washing dishes becomes a moment of presence. Walking becomes a form of integration. Resting becomes sacred. There is no division between practice and life. Life becomes the practice, and every interaction is an opportunity to anchor coherence into the grid. This is the path of embodied Akashic power. Not to know more, but to become more. Not to do more, but to be more still. Not to prove, but to radiate, and in doing so, to awaken others. Not by force, but by frequency. Not by telling, but by being. You are now walking as the field. You begin to understand that energetic mastery is not something to achieve. It's something to become. All the tools, all the teachings, all the systems, they are only bridges, invitations to return to your original design. You were never meant to feel lost in the noise of thought, the storm of emotion, the chaos of external pressure. Your nervous system was wired to feel the subtle. Your field was born to transmit the truth, and your consciousness was always capable of shaping reality. The Akashic Field is not a gift reserved for the chosen. It is the inheritance of everyone willing to remember. To remember that attention is creation, that silence is a doorway, that truth doesn't need explanation, only embodiment. When you live from the Akashic current, you no longer chase anything. You attune, you listen, you align, and life begins to move with you. Each morning becomes a ritual of returning. You wake and breathe before words, before roles. You scan your field not with judgment, but with curiosity. What is present? What is pulsing beneath the surface? What is asking to be seen, to be felt, to be honored? You treat your own energy with reverence, not control, because you understand now that energy responds to the quality of your attention. Not to pressure, not to effort, but to presence. And throughout the day, you carry that presence with you. You speak only what feels true in your body. You rest when your field contracts. You move when it expands. You let go of the need to force outcomes. You trust that the field, the ancient, intelligent, limitless field, is listening, that it is shaping with you, that you are not alone. You are not disconnected. You are one thread in a vast and living web of intention. And so your life begins to reflect that. People feel it before they know it. They lean in. They soften. They ask questions they've never asked before, because your frequency gives them permission to remember theirs. You are no longer trying to convince the world of anything. You are simply radiating what's real, and that reality is unmistakable. The deeper you live in this way, the more the field speaks through you. Insights land without searching. Ideas emerge fully formed. You begin to sense the layers behind conversations. You speak from a place that doesn't need to be right. It simply knows. Your presence becomes medicine. Your silence becomes teaching. Your movement becomes prayer. This is not spiritual perfection. This is not enlightenment as a destination. This is what it looks like when a human walks as coherence. When the mind is quiet, the heart is clear, and the energy is in command. You are no longer the one reaching. You are the one remembering. You are no longer trying to access the Akashic Field. You are living as its extension. And still you are human. You feel, you forget, you stumble. But now, you know how to return. You know that everything is energy, that your thoughts are commands, that your presence is the key. You know that stillness is a portal, that the body is a compass, that your vibration is your truth. There are no more secrets, only layers. And with each layer you peel away, each illusion, each attachment, each false belief. The signal becomes stronger, the clarity becomes louder, the path becomes simpler, not easier, simpler, because the truth is always simple. The mind complicates, the soul refines, the field reflects. And so you walk, not to arrive, but to remember. You are the field, you are the frequency, you are the record and the scribe and the sound, and you are ready.